Yeah.
All right. So we're all welcome. Today is the 29th of November. We're welcome to WARM. WARM is a writing and research mentorship cohort. Today we want to just look at planning your research space. And I thought about that topic in terms of where we are now. We're all looking towards um, a holiday season. Most academics are closing down, academic institutions are closing down. If you've not seen your supervisor, if you've not talked to them, you're kind of panicking, oh, what am I going to do? So basically, I thought that it would be nice to have a discussion around planning that research space, especially as we go into the holidays. The outline is as on the screen: planning in advance, be accountable, prepare before you begin, motivate yourself into action, and then work steadily. So you could take some notes, put some notes in the chat, or some questions you might want to ask as we go along. So what do I mean by planning in advance? Planning in advance, you want to take stock of what is to be done. And then you also want to, what do you want to achieve? You want to ask yourself those questions. And lastly, you also want to look at how much time do you have to achieve all this? So thinking about that, you may say to yourself, December, we're going into December. December is a whole month, is a month punctuated with holidays. Even if you want to work, everybody is going out, eating, drinking, and then you're wondering, what am I doing? How am I going to actually achieve all what I want to achieve? So if you plan this in advance, you might have the opportunity of actually outlining what do you want to achieve, and how much time do you actually have? Also being fair on yourself, knowing that it's end of year season and that you do need some downtime, but you could squeeze in some time for your research if you actually look at how much time do you have and how much do you want to achieve between now and when your supervisors may be back in on the scene. So it's also about probably considering each day, each week, each month, and create some type of rhythm. Like now with WARM, we've developed this rhythm that every second Wednesday of the month we come together. And if you use that, it could also help you in pacing yourself to see what you can achieve to see how much time you have and what you want to achieve within that time. We all have 24 hours in a day, but it's how we use it and being good to yourself. You cannot be too hard on yourself. So in terms of planning in advance, I found this diagram in a book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And I recommend it to all of us doing postgrad studies because it just looks not just for your studies, but for your life in general. You want to identify what is important and then find ways of avoiding getting into a crisis mode. So this table or this diagram prepared by Steve Covey shows us how we can, sort of compartmentalize everything we need to get done and then prevent ourselves getting into crisis mode. So quadrant 2 is usually the best quadrant you want to be in. If you're in quadrant 1, it's an important issue and it is urgent. You don't want to be on a deadline driven, oh, my proposal is due next week and I'm just sitting and stressing. In that way, your productivity reduces. You also want to avoid doing things that are not important and are actually not urgent. In the quadrant 3, that's actually interruptions. You don't want to have interruptions. I am in a state now where I am under pressure to hand in marks because I lecture in architecture at the University of KwaZulu-Natal, and we need to hand in our marks. I'm under that pressure, so I blocked out social media. I switched off my phone. I'm knuckling down. I'm looking at what I need to get done. TV is out. Scrolling on social media is out. Visiting is out because it's not important and it's actually not urgent. Those posts, those messages, emails that are not from my school, I can always go and look at them after hours and attend to them. You also want to avoid being in the quadrant 4, where you're just doing trivial things, chatting, minding other people's business, jumping onto social media, getting all sorts of distractions, and even doing pleasant activities that may not necessarily help you in achieving your deadline, and talking to time wasters, people who are just grumbling. You don't want those kind of people around you because you are being purposeful. In the quadrant 2, you are looking at productive activities. You're looking at good relationships. You're looking at, and when I say good relationships with your family, for those who have children, how are you sorting them out? You're looking at opportunities, you're planning, you're strategizing how you're going to go forward. So you want to really identify what is important, especially on your research journey. I also suggest that you'd want to be accountable. Find what you're focusing on, identify your key results, and share with an accountability partner. What does that mean? An accountability partner is somebody you just want to call upon and say, oh, I've written 1 page today. Someone, Ndumi, is talking about writing a book. As an accountability partner, I may ask you, so what's the title of the book? And then we continue to work at it. You could spend a whole month thinking of the title. You could spend a whole year thinking of the title, but you keep on working at it, writing it down. Your chapters, as you may be going towards the end of your research, start on your chapters. Sometimes we may not have the energy to push, but you could be refining, editing what you have already written when you're tired, and then when you're fresh in the morning, actually push on in terms of your writing. And these are some of the deadlines or lifelines, as we would like to call them, you want to share with an accountability partner. So be accountable, and again, look at that table and see how you have put each of these items into one of those quadrants. Prepare before you begin. Prepare your space, your desk. What are you going to read when you get up, when you start the day out? Set it up, put it on your desk. Prepare your home. For those of us who are mothers and even just for yourself, you may need to have your food ready. What am I going to eat? Set it up, have bread, have all those things that you can nibble on. I've started nibbling on carrots. I find it very good and very useful for me. Then allocate time for your responsibilities. I remember while I was doing my PhD, at a point in time, I had to tell my children, if you call me before 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I'm not going to answer you because I'm focusing. Send me a message. If it's important, I will call you immediately. If not, after 3, I can call you. For those with little children, you may want to put children to sleep in time. Just create that space and then tidy up your space. Gather your reading materials, your writing materials, and I'm sure there are other tips you could use. Get a good pencil, get a good pen, something that would, get you excited about doing your work. If it's internet, make sure you have your good internet so that you're not disrupted when you're doing your searches for your research. Motivating yourself, I think, is also very important. Like I mentioned just now, you may want to get a good pen. You may want to get a good pencil, a good notebook that you're writing in. You may want to tell yourself, okay, if I finish this, I will do that. Find ways that you motivate yourself, but not ways that would become a distraction. You want to be positive, you want to find energy, rest well, eat, drink a lot of water, especially now that, issues of climate change, depending on the part of the world you are, your brain is a lot of water. So you need to keep on drinking water, be hydrated, and motivate yourself. Whatever is good for you, we'll chat about it once we finish this recording. So I think this is the last slide, and I'm saying work steadily. Meaning what? It means if you are working every 4 a.m. in the morning, do it consistently. Your body has a way of getting into a rhythm. Excuse me. And if you can discipline yourself in that way by working steadily, you would finish well. You would consistently chipping at the big blocks that you may have to do steadily. I have a notebook that I'm currently writing in, and I'm like, by the end of this week, I want this notebook to be full. But I'm still like so many pages to the end. And date each page, date it. And for those of us who are multitaskers, write down things that you've also done. Write down things that you want to do in the evening, and you don't want to forget to do. Think on paper, which is another good point to have in mind. Write it down as you're working. Oh, remember to do this. Write it down. It doesn't mean you're going to do it, because our mind, it doesn't mean you're going to do it immediately, but you know that I need to get this done, but I'm focusing now. So I'm not going to stop what I'm doing to go and do that, if that is the kind of situation it is. So that's what I have to share this evening. It's really about planning towards the holiday season that we're going into. Most universities in South Africa are closing down now. We probably wouldn't resume until the first week in February, which means we have at least how many weeks? Yeah, at least 6 weeks, which you can appropriate in the way you deem best. So that's my presentation today. It's writing and research mentorship, and our email address is warm@shfh.co.za. Feel free to send any email, messages, questions, and then we'll be able to answer you. At this point, Grace would have said, if you would like a one-on-one mentorship journey, we would always be happy to arrange that with you, for which there will be a fee that you may pay for that session. So I think that's the end of the presentation today, and I thank you for listening.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you for sharing. Hi, Grace.